So, guys, we are on our seventh session for the game plan series, and welcome you all on a Sunday morning. We are back again to discuss ideas, thoughts, outlook on the market, and what could be your game plan. So, just like we start in our series, this is a disclaimer. There's a ritual that we would want to follow, starting with Mr. Abhishek. How you want to do it is basically we are saying that this whatever discussion we're going to do is for education purpose only. There would be certain stocks will be discussed. That's not a recommendation. Final analysis rests in your hand, and the decision to invest is again yours. So what we'll do is we'll go one by one. People can say their full name and say I agree. Starting with you, Abhishek.
Archit Verma, I agree.
Oh, thank you, Archit. Abhishek ji.
Abhishek Anand, I agree.
Thank you. Anil.
Anay Bhanushali, I agree.
Thank you. Divakar. If I can ask
Devaka
you also.
Chandrasekharan, I agree.
Thank you. Rahul. Rahul Lakanpal ji.
Rahul Lakanpal, I agree.
Thank you. Sharendra ji.
Shailendra Shukla, I agree.
Thank you. Shivai.
Shivai, I agree.
Great. Spandan.
Spandan Rakshit, I agree.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. So let's get started with some of the views that we have. Just to give you a context, we will start with the global view, coming down to India's position. Where does India look like in terms of Nifty and all? What are the sectors which are showing some kind of a movement? And if there are some leaders and laggards with regards to that. Before I jump into the global view, I just wanted to reflect upon what we discussed last week, and I also want to take some thoughts, ideas. If you had invested based on our discussions last time, so we said that there is a SMA line for Nifty last time, which it needs to cross as a hurdle. Let me just show you that slide. Basically, we were referring to this red line, and we said previously it had just taken a turn exactly from this level, and in the week that just passed by, we saw the level being broken and markets are clearly gone up. And also, Bank Nifty has also shown some improvement. It also crossed its barriers and it's moving up. So clearly, signs of bullishness are creeping in, and couple of action in terms of stocks that we discussed: VIP Industries, Adani Wilmar, I think Tata Power. Uh, so Diwakar, if you recall, I was talking about Tata Power probably not going to go down immediately. I think the entire power sector will talk about Adani Power also, how they're still showing some signs of bullishness in the market. Then there is Reliance, which we discussed the trade, and I think some of you have also seen the short video that I created. On that, we made a 53% ROI in just 3 days. So 3 days, that is Monday to Wednesday. So that's how things move. Cement companies have also started to move. I think they were able to pass on some in the inflation pressures of the raw material to the customers. So, guys, it's been a nice, interesting week. Some of our ideas worked out very well. Some of them are yet to show some results, but definitely not going downwards. So, we are quite happy. The global markets on Friday, what has happened, if you can see, uh, in India, Nifty had shown really good performance. So there's a lot of hype. There's a lot of, I think, excitement around how maybe the commodity, this new fiscal year that is coming in, is going to push commodities. It's going to push a lot of other sectors to ultimately accept the fact that we are probably going to live in this slightly inflationary world, and passing on the final prices to the consumers. And still, the infrastructure boom is going to happen. Finally, we will recover, and maybe our index goes up further. This is much higher than what we have seen in the Americas and in the Europe. So hopefully, this is a sign of more or better things to come, अच्छे दिन or something that I could put here. Also, if I see the commodity view, the previous energy, I would say commodities have kind of slowed down a bit. Uh, then there's certain metals that continue to rise. I'm not surprised. What it translates into ultimately when I see the index, if you recall, when we started using this slide, reality was closer to the gap from the high was nearly 32%. So the gap is coming down. What you see here on the chart is percentage from 52-week high. So that gap is coming down. The sectors that continue to rule or make new 52-week highs continue to be energy, power, oil, and gas. In fact, this was one of the news in the week that BSC Power Index, this one here, right on the top second from the list, has made a high, of the 14-year high. So that's interesting, and Adani Power is obviously leading that. I feel a lot to do comes from how the sentiment has changed. If I give you a snapshot of the FII DI activities, um, DIIs, our mutual funds had already, started to buy, which is visible through these long blue-colored bars here. What we noticed towards the end of the week is that FIIs also started to pick up their buying activity. And giving you very quickly, and then we'll open it up for some discussion here at this point. What was the focus of our FII DIIs? Have a look. On a Tuesday, they were buying cement and financial companies. Good, jumps coming in JK Cement, Dalmia Bharat, and so on. Then a bit of initiation on the financial sector with MFSL, India Bull Financing. Then we saw Canfin Homes, a clear winner on Wednesday when it was a bit unsure where the market is going. Financial was still rising. When I see this on 1st of April, uh, financial beating the market, the growth in the financial sector, the banks, the financial services, I think the numbers speak for it themselves. We also again saw cement coming in on Friday, power industry with BAGL jumping 10%, a couple of others also out here. I am not surprised that the focus is back on financials. Banks and financial services could be rising. I wanted to also show you how the sectors have moved. So last week around, we said that just look at the box down below. There was some interrelatedness in this box when I said, you could see FMCG, financial services, auto, reality, they are all interlinked here. And while our metals, energy, a bit of power was sitting in this high performing box. Now, the current week situation has probably reversed it. You see, these guys, auto, FMCG, financial services, have jumped up while the metal, power, energy has slightly come down. They are not the ones which are driving Nifty at the moment. So I see this jump as a very, very positive sign. And we've been discussing opportunities in the space, and we'll go deep into that. One thing I want to leave you with is on a Friday when everything was up, our large cap tech was still sitting down. So clearly in emphasizing that the next growth wave probably is in the hands of the banking sector, and tech just needs to stay neutral, maybe, if not show that kind of a jump. So let me take a pause here and take some quick reactions before I go into certain themes which I observed. Yes. Anybody, any views, any comments? Yakar? Welcome, Ashmita. I see you there. Sachin ji, welcome.
Yeah,
I
I
hope you
think
guys can see me. Yeah.
of in terms of growth, or at least seasonally, power sector and oil and gas sector should do well.
Hmm.
Um, I'm only worried about the margins. Will they be able to source raw materials at the right price? Um, But yeah, I think the observations are right, and I think the best sector to be in would be the financials.
Right, right. So just let's quickly have a look at how these names moved up. Let me scroll down to power. Just trying to locate the power sector. Um, Let me come back to it. I think I'm kind of missing the chart, but
Now, if you have seen the market yesterday for last 1 hour now,
hmm,
how the scalping was taken over by the large cap, Reliance. That is the
I'm
key
sorry.
also in this. How the
Come again,
scalping
sir.
now. How
Yeah.
the Nifty changed by Reliance took over large cap. So they can
Hmm.
intervene and they can moderate very well in the market at any moment.
Yes.
Because it raised from 500 to 600, it straight away took it to 700 and then again. That is also
Hmm.
key sector.
So what basically, if I just focus on how the outlook looks like for the month of March, the PCR has turned really, really positive, really bullish, if I can, use that. Given that if I focus on the open interest PCR, it is standing at 1.39. For the most recent or the latest weekly expiry, it stands close to 1.2. And talking about the ATR PCR, basically it is just a more crispier version of the PCR where we focus on the strike prices very close to the current levels. The numbers are astonishing. I mean, we are heading towards really, really bullish periods. I would say the next 1 to 2 weeks. At least the open interest is suggesting that there is a lot of bullishness in the markets. Even if you see this weekly open interest chart, you'll see more of a green color. Green color bars in the length is significant. And if I show you the monthly picture, here the put is being reflected by these blue color columns, and the future is of course reflected by the black one, and the red ones reflect the call data. So of course, put continues to be the stronger one. If you are looking for some making opportunities, I think selling puts is what is coming out from here, and people are doing it at an interval of 500 points. 500 strike prices. The puts are being laid out very well. I think similar thing you can see on the call, but the length of the height of these columns is not that great, suggesting that on the call side people are still a bit skeptical doing the sell calls. So sell put might be a good choice for you. When I see the numbers for Bank Nifty, uh, I think there's a very, very similar picture, and I just mentioned Nifty. If it has to move out, it cannot move without the support of Bank Nifty. And giving you a chart of the Bank Nifty, uh, it is it is probably a slow mover here, and we know why. Unless and until consumption improves in the market, Bank Nifty, stocks do not really rise to that level. Nifty has definitely moved significantly in the last few months. Bank Nifty has not moved that much. So the next wave, if something happens this year, I am quite sure it has to be driven by a Bank Nifty. And the numbers are, as I said, the PCR is quite positive here. A lot of puts being sold on the weekly. And if I go back to one of Divakar's favorite charts, I think it's the alligator. And Divakar, if you see, both Nifty and Bank Nifty have crossed the three moving averages on the alligator. In fact, Nifty has moved up significantly from here. So good, I think support coming in for Nifty. And if I then go to some of the elements which I showed you here, the jumps that have come in. I mean, look at FMCG was sitting right at the bottom last week, right here at the bottom. It's probably moved up very well. At least it is coming out of this red color zone, and that suggests certain opportunities. And I want to handle this holistically. Maybe there's a good discussion that we can do. If people are from this industry, they will also be able to throw some light. I see some observations here. Now, what goes as raw material to FMCG. Let's start with that. So this particular week, I saw the rise in the agri-commodity stocks, agriculture commodity stocks. Now, leading among them is Adani Wilmar. I mean, 30% in 1 week, that's amazing. You also had Tata Coffee jumping 10%, Ruchi Soya another 8%. Now, they could have their different reasons for jump, but one thing that I, have been talking about is Adani. Now, Adani, whether the war situation or no war situation, I think they have some real advantages because they are practically in the infrastructure segment and operating the ports, and also if they need to import something, if there is some crisis within the country, I think they can make things move faster, and that's why deliver in crisis like situations. So when I was reading some of the articles online, so there is higher trade activity. Oil prices have definitely gone up, and what Adani is doing is probably using this period to, you know, uh, sell unsold inventory at higher margins. And even if it needs to import through its ports, things move very, very smoothly, because it owns the infrastructure, it owns the ecosystem. Tata Coffee making very interesting moves. It has kind of demerged certain segments of its business and combined its activity with the larger Tata Consumers Group. The Tata Consumers Group. By the way, if I give you an idea, this particular group, the snacks area, if I can call it, this is a trading view classification. So if you don't agree, don't blame me. Um, that's how TradingView is giving us. But Tata Consumers is also started to move up, right? Then there are related food companies. I mean, if people start to move out, they are consuming more ready-made foods, there are certain companies that will get benefited out of it. And I think Tata Consumers is ideally placed for that. It also is one of those companies that own a bit of an ecosystem. And when I share with you what kind of ecosystem I'm talking about, this is their final set of products, which you see here. Um, Rallies India, if you have heard this company, it is into agrochemicals again. Good for, I would say, if you are talking about market share in the seeds or plant nutrient area, I think Rallies India stands out on that. Tata Chemicals, which produces a lot of chemicals for the food industry, for the agri industry, I think it also stands to benefit from it. So I have been saying this, that maybe the next 3 to 5 years belong to Tata and Adani. That's my view. Of course, the Reliance continues to rule because most of us still trust Reliance for a lot of their businesses and dependency on Reliance products. But how Tata is reorganizing itself, how Adani is pushing activity across all the segments, I think that makes it much more promising. Um, Anybody holding Adani Wilmar, by the way?
I am holding, sir.
So, what price do you plan to hold?
Sir, I'll still observe the charts right now. I've already
Yeah,
got like 69% return from it.
awesome, awesome. So, do your technicals, do your GAN, I think, and suggest if you can put in the group what would be the right levels. Of course, if you are happy with this kind of a jump, anytime a fall can come because people will be doing the profit booking. So keep a watch on that. Um, And given these themes, I have no doubt that there are some companies which have been battered in the last 4 months in the FMCG space, which is what I started my discussion with. And you could see some jumps here. Maybe it is purely technical, or maybe it's a cycle that we are observing right now. And prominent among them, where we saw some jumps in this current week, is Godrej Consumer Products. Marico, and Hindustan Unilever, Dabur, and so. The one thing, and I'll go to the chart for Godrej Consumer Products. Exactly a year ago, maybe or close to that, in May, there was a jump in the stock price because a CEO from HUL was brought in. And if you can see on the right hand side how the shape of the chart looks like, there were some expectations around it. Of course, a new guy coming in, much more experienced from Hindustan Unilever coming in. The stock price really jumped up like crazy, and it is now come back to the same level from where it had jumped last year. I see some opportunities over there, and we'll go to the chart in a moment. More recently, Colgate Palmolive has also brought a senior guy or someone to lead um, the company again from HUL, this time to take back the share from Dabur and Patanjali. Some market share has been lost in the last couple of quarters from Colgate Palmolive, and I think that's where this stock also becomes interesting. Hindustan Unilever is saying that I have been able to. I mean, if the problem with Hindustan Unilever is that they are faced with these high raw material costs, which they feel they are not able to pass on to the final consumer. The only way now they can survive is if they do some streamlining of operations. And I think that is also something which they say they have been successful. The past 2 years, they have been tweaking manufacturing lines and shedding their dependence on imported raw materials. So we'll have a look how these stocks have jumped up, and if somebody is from this sector, I think that will be helpful to shed some light if they are noticing some activity. Let me open up a cleaner chart so that you guys don't get confused. Okay. So here, let's start from the monthly view. This is the area which I'm talking about, guys. This is a year ago, the month of May. The stock price just shot up because of the entry of the new CEO, and we see a nice hammer being formed at this same level, roughly the same level. Let me show you the weekly performance. So here is that level. Uh, this was the first indication that the reversal is coming in Godrej Consumer Products. I see a nice long green candle being formed. If I compare, if I just compare the volumes, the last highest volume came in May 21. I think after that we are only seeing this in March. This could be a sign of reversals. Godrej Consumer Products, I think it's very well positioned. The product range is pretty good, and all they just needed to sort out the leadership challenges. So this could be an opportunity for you guys. We also said coal pal. Let's have a look at coal pal. So it hasn't had that kind of a trajectory where you see the inverted V's and all. In fact, it's been always going up, and now I think more towards the beginning of the year they have brought in a guy, and the market is pretty gung ho about it. So if it's supposed to rise, I think it's there is enough room for that. Let me check it on another chart which I might have in terms of a trajectory. Okay, so from the recent fall, at least I can say the stock is sitting in a weekly supply zone. There's a weekly supply zone, but there is enough room for it to move from 0.618 to this supply, which is also happens to be the monthly supply. So there is this red color candle. If it has to be covered entirely, yes, from 1549 to close to 1680, 1700s, there is room for growth in Colgate Palmolive. Anybody holding this stock? Yes? No? Plan to hold it? You guys want to do a futures trade on Colpal? Anybody? Any inclination towards this stock? No? Okay. let's have a look at Hindustan Unilever. So Hindustan Unilever probably has experienced a big fall here, and we hadn't seen this kind of a fall for a very long time, where the stock has continued, for a few months below its 20 EMA. So the 20 EMA stands this orange color line, and if I just show you this chart from, let me expand this very quickly. I think the last time this kind of a situation came was more towards where 3 4 months it had stayed below the 20 EMA was somewhere here in 2004 and 2001. Okay, so after that we haven't seen, or maybe here also a little bit in 2010. So the situation is being repeated, I think, after 12 years. Eventually, we have seen that the stock does go up. Right? So this could be a period for accumulation. We have seen for March a nice hammer again being formed. There is more volume. There's more volume here in April. Um, Sorry, in March here compared to the previous months. So I would not be surprised if at least you're looking for a jump, it could take target as the 20 EMA itself, because that is the first hurdle it has to cross. And of course, if it continues on that journey, there is room till 2,800. So I'm not surprised, if 5 years from now we were again looking at this chart, it would have some trajectory which is going up like at a nice 45-degree line, which is like this. So uh, HUL buying MDH masalas or whatever they plan to do, they'll continue their acquisition spree to make sure that they don't go out of business, they don't lose market share. So this kind of accumulation periods, they are very few. They open up opportunities, that. And those who take risk, I think they will have a good entry price once the stock is significantly up. So keep that in mind, that there are opportunities only in adversity. I think the other stock which I feel is showing me opportunities is Hero Motor. Just look how it's been battered. What has happened during the week? Let's quickly look at that. Uh, so these long red candles are coming in. This is because there is news that there are some IT raids on Hero Motors premises, and the MD has also made some bogus expenses and so on. But at the end of the day, I don't think anybody will. Hero Motor is pretty big as a company. They have a good market share. They provide a lot of employment. Ultimately, they will sort it out. But what is happening right now is something similar to what happens to Facebook all the time. Some negative publicity has to be brought in, and then some big guy will pick up the stock. Keep a watch on volumes. This week there is volume that came in. Okay, but the stock did not go down from this hammer uh, candlestick, which was formed, I think, 4 weeks back. So it is quite possible that this news has been created for someone who is interested, a guy who wants to accumulate stock at very low levels. Should you also participate in that kind of a wave? I think choice is yours. If you know how to interpret technicals, um, keep a watch on this. If you plan to buy uh, Hero Motor, just deploy 50% of the capital right now. If it goes down further, which would be the next demand zone, I don't expect it to crash till 1500 levels, just like what COVID brought in. But if there is something here, it is probably till 2000 levels. So you can deploy half your capital here, another half here. I would be happy to deploy if the stock starts moving up from here. I've already deployed 50%. I might just deploy another 50% once it is able to cross 2500, because then the journey is going towards 36. And if you feel scooter markets are not probably doing good, or sorry, the two-wheeler markets are not doing good, let's look at Bajaj Auto. in the same period, the same last 1 month, Bajaj Auto has started to move up. So there is something definitely going on. You can check on TVS Motors, also going up. I think few weeks back I showed you two-wheeler sales. Of course, they are not as good as you would expect, but this is the latest. But they are, I think, improving over a period of time, right? So let's check. Passenger sales, passenger vehicle sales is improving. Two-wheeler sales. Okay, so from the COVID level, definitely there's a gap. I think people are now looking forward to more EV kind of uh, versions of these, and which I think Bajaj and Hero are pretty good at creating. Um, just we'll spend some time in the next few weeks looking how the March numbers have come out. There was a news article saying that there is an improvement, and I would not be surprised that without that improvement, you would not see the TVS motors or the Bajaj autos jumping up. Any thoughts on auto? Anybody planning to accumulate Hero Motor? Anybody done any analysis on Hero Motor?
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Sumit, did you have any interest in buying Bajaj Auto?
Yes, I am. I have been holding Bajaj Auto and I've been accumulating it more in the recent periods.
So I'm a trader, so I want to understand a investor's mindset. Why, like, would
Yeah.
you prefer? What would you prefer, a Bajaj Auto right now or Hero MotoCorp?
So Bajaj Auto is going up because the industry sector is supposed to, improve as
Hmm.
we've been seeing things have to ultimately move. But from a Hero Motor, there's just an opportunity because of negative sentiment. If I have to answer your question, right now I'll be more keen in picking up Hero Motor.
Okay, got it.
I mean, the allegation on the CEO is probably 1,000 crore. They have just moved around. I mean, what is 1,000 crore here? Let's check. If I look at
No, I mean, if you
this.
see the charts, even if you see the monthly charts of Bajaj Auto
Hmm,
and Hero MotoCorp, like there's clear
hmm,
division. Like Bajaj Auto is in a
hmm,
uptrend on the monthly chart, on
mhm,
the weekly chart, and Hero MotoCorp is going down. I mean, if the market is telling you that the trend, even the higher time frame trend of the stock is down, why
hmm,
would I understand? Like there may be a halt, there may be a mean reversion opportunity, but
hmm.
as an investor, you're betting on the
Just look at
company,
the gap. Just look at the gap. So if I'm showing you how do they normally move,
right?
if I talk about pair trading, if you know what pair trading is,
Yeah,
right?
yes, yes.
Uh, let's go back 1 year
मैं
also.
EV vehicles पे जोर देना है. Priorities EV
अगर
vehicles
दोनों
can be
दोनों ही
spoken about.
दोनों ही ईवी करेंगे यहाँ पे सिर्फ हम टेक्निकल के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से बोल रहे हैं कि जस्ट लुक एट द शेप ऑफ दीज stocks. They typically move hand in hand, and the moment there is huge discrepancy, they will
Yeah,
probably converge. So right now we are at a stage where there's a huge discrepancy. Bajaj Auto कहाँ चल रहा है, हीरो मोटर कहाँ पहुंच चुका है. ठीक
right,
है, they are both in the same sector. Accumulate करना है तो यही कर सकते हैं. As I said, you should know the levels. You should have done the markings. Where the opportunity sits. You've done some DCF levels and all. Of course, stock doesn't reach those levels unless and until something very bad happens to the sector or the economy. But beyond that, if I have to do some markings, easy markings, which I think I just mentioned also. Here we are looking at weekly, there is no levels, but if I have to do the marking for, yeah, sorry, monthly, there were no levels. Here is an interesting level. Oops, is that long? Yeah, okay. I will mark it as my weekly demand zone. Right now, the stock is sitting in a weekly demand zone. So this is the range. If you, let's say you do buy it right now, you probably want to keep stop loss close to the 1991 levels. There is another demand zone right here, which I can also mark for you. In case, I mean, in fact, these are getting quite stronger because this is a level level below level, right? So this is an area where it will accumulate. Don't expect it to show a V shape immediately, because excuse me, these things take time, and there are two demand zones. So if it does penetrate here in the first one, it'll probably go into this second one. But I'm expecting a reversal happening, from these two demand zones. I don't think it should go up till 1600 levels. If it goes fantastic, I will sell a put and I will take the delivery of the stock. I mean, this would be the ultimate if it happens. Does anybody use
Sumit,
sell put?
make your screen bigger, Sumit, because it's just medium looks like. If you can make it bigger, screen.
You mean
Trading
to
view
zoom,
screen.
zoom in? Yeah, is this what you're saying?
Yeah, can we make this whole trading view screen bigger bit possible?
Yeah, here. This?
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's okay. Right.
Okay.
I was
Yeah,
not able to see
done.
the lines somehow. Sorry.
No worries. I'll kill this also. So, okay. So
Thank you.
that's. Let me check. Going back to my original set of slides. So the theme which I mentioned, agri commodities rising clearly, jump in FMCG companies, and then that's where I said maybe you could look at the opportunities, the technicals we've discussed in depth. What about if people move out, started moving? I mean, mostly the cities or states have started removing the restrictions, and I think there is a trend, and maybe it's too early, but the stocks have started to show that at least. So these restaurant stocks have moved up in this current week, and I know some of you might have reservations on Jubilant Foodworks because the CEO resigned very recently in times of, when the company was facing a very challenging period. Uh, from a technical standpoint, it has definitely reversed. Can it go back to its original levels or not? I think also depends on who's the new guy that's going to come in. So see this kind of a reversal on the weekly charts. We have seen good volume, not a perfect hammer, but at least this kind of a jump. Sorry, this kind of a pause in the fall is coming in, and the obvious targets for most of these is the 20 EMAs that they try to achieve. And if that happens, there is a small opportunity. Again, I'm saying it's purely from a technical standpoint. There's a stock which I feel is much better placed when it comes to restaurants. Um, and that could probably be specialty restaurants, which has gone up like throughout this period. I think they have just created value for uh, themselves. Specialty restaurants. Let me go to the monthly view. I mean, this is interesting. From 2020 onwards, a restaurant stock has been climbing like crazy. This is a period where people were probably not even visiting. What kind of chains do they have? Are you aware, guys? What specialty restaurant?
Yeah, specialty is more a restaurant-oriented business. Sumit.
Mm-hmm.
Jubilant Foodworks is not really a restaurant-oriented. I would say
But
they are the
it's a
Domino's.
franchise. It's a
Yeah,
franchise, right?
it's a franchise, right? But they for them most of the revenue would come, especially
Hmm.
now, from deliveries.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
they
Hmm.
would for them the delta will probably not be that high, but for specialty definitely the delta will be very high. And so
Yeah.
the brands that they have are very good, uh,
Yeah.
and their their services have always been very good. So as far and that is sort of what shows in the fact that steadily they were growing during the pandemic period also, because they were
Correct.
probably shifting a lot of the revenue from um, dine-ins to deliveries, because their brands at least
Right.
were
Right.
very substantially known. So mainland China being obviously everybody has been to mainland China, right?
Yeah,
So
mainland China, Calcutta, I think a couple of such good names that they have.
right,
Uh, I think I think what they've done during the pandemic itself, they have optimized the use of the space that they used to have.
Exactly.
I mean, I can share with you these articles if you want. I think that's what they were doing, and opened up more cloud kitchens. So I'm not surprised. I mean, the market has recognized this. They did not have a fall in revenues. I think, or for that matter, profitability has also increased for them. Um, so let's quickly check this. If I hope I'm not shooting in the dark. Oops. So I think that's increasing, and I think the most recent quarter they are coming back to their normal levels, and the market seem to have recognized this, and also the stock prices continue to rise, and I am hoping that if a pandemic during a pandemic, if a restaurant stock could rise that much, what will be the case once people actually start to venture out? The room for growth, is clearly 228. There's a lot of room here. Let me see if I've done some marking on specialty. I don't have anything. But can you see that if I just draw a line here, maybe if I create a channel, there is something to suggest that there is a breakout from the channel maybe coming in, or maybe it has already happened. Let's check on that. So yeah, if and the volumes also seem to be quite good. The way the jump has come out, it could very well move up at least till its original level where it was, in the previous years. So these kind of opportunities, they're all interrelated, as I said. Starting from agri commodities, you are looking at FMCG, and then the final product, if you really want to sit down and have food somewhere, these are the restaurant stocks coming in. Related to that is snacks. All that, I think, is throwing up opportunities, and since they are B2C, I think it's not very difficult to observe what are the kind of brands people are most gung ho about. What do you order online? Where do you normally go to eat out and all? And we could spend time on that if you have any particular stock in mind. But I see very simple companies also coming up. Like there is this DFM Foods. This is just last week performance, guys. DFM Foods, it makes these cracks and other savories. Uh, we know Vector Food, we know Vadilal, the ice cream company. I mean, I was surprised when I looked at Vadilal kind of companies. Uh, what a jump! What a jump in these coming, and it's been rising like crazy. With summers coming in, I think this Vadilal ice cream is also going to go up. So these are very very simple ideas. You know, technicals can help you take advantage of what would be a good entry price and all. But if you follow the themes, I think everything is interlinked to agri commodity. So we have been talking about commodities. In the past, we were talking about metals and energy related commodities. I think now the shift has suddenly come to agri commodities. Divakar, what do you feel on the super cycle of commodity jump? Is agri the last one normally? Divakar, can you hear me? Okay, probably not able to hear. Uh, Anybody, any views
Yeah.
on this before I
Sumit,
move
I
on?
had a question, Sumit, on Wadi Lal.
Anji, yeah.
You see that, it's going by 3 candles, it's gone up, it's 3 green candles,
Hmm.
and the volume is not that much. I'm wondering, like, who's doing the activity? Is this the
That's
volume which gives this
this is
kind of?
better. If at a high level you see stock jumping, that means hardly anybody is selling. With such a
Yeah,
small volume,
yeah,
it can achieve huge price jumps, right?
yeah,
So
yeah. Sorry.
plus also keep a track on the moving averages, right? If I'm just
Mm-hmm.
at moving averages, let me go to my
50 and
20 EM.
200.
Here is my 20 EMA on the monthly level. Just see
Okay.
how it has taken the support and is jumping up. Now you might
Okay.
want to wait a little till it comes back within its Bollinger Bands, but
Yeah.
let's say if it is again close to, and I can also put an alert here, close to 1125 again.
Oh.
This is how normally stocks would do, that they would come with a retracement. It's shown a nice jump. It could show a retracement also, and then jump back again. So that
Okay.
could be something that you can look out for.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
If you guys know, there's a pattern called cup and handle. I don't know if you know that. You can Google cup and handle. Let me show it to you very quickly. Cup
Yeah.
and handle pattern. So yeah, let's show this one. So cup and handle, it's like, you see the shape of the cup. This is the original, or rather the major portion of the cup, and then there's a handle, right? So how the cup and handle gets formed, of course, it will not be the perfect shape, but you will see how the stock goes down, picks up again. Once it reaches its peak, let me take this one. Once it reaches its peak, again it shows some kind of a retracement, and then it continues with its journey, right? So here we could, I mean, I am assuming that this is the cup portion. If this is the handle, if this is the handle, well and good, it goes up again. Even if we say that there is more retracement, it will not come down to these original levels. It will probably reverse from here. So you could probably buy a little bit of a stock here if you want to keep some money handy. A remaining 30% or 40% money amount can be flowed in at these levels also. So you should always be ready with that. And then the journey continues. And I've been talking about AC companies in the last 2 weeks, that how the summers are going to definitely help the AC companies and so on. I mean, Vadilal kind of companies will also get benefited. Cool. Divakar, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
So I was just asking you, typically in a super cycle of commodities, we've seen energy stocks, sorry, the energy related commodity prices moving up first, metals. Is agri always the last one? Is that some observation that you
Yeah, I
have?
think it's the follow-on effects or
Hmm.
the effects of inflation
Hmm.
on oil reaches agri a bit late,
Hmm.
and then once it reaches agri, then it stays. So agri stays that way, right? So, for
Yeah.
example, the fuel price hike,
Hmm.
which has been happening for the last 6 months, let's say,
Yeah.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
will lead to price of milk and egg rising for the next 3 years.
Sorry, okay, let's check then Venky's, because Venky's is the largest producer of eggs in our country. So,
Chicken
egg,
also. No? Chicken
I'm
also.
sorry, chicken
Chicken.
also. Yeah,
Chicken and
so I, yeah, a previous demand zone at a month, sorry, a supply zone at a monthly level, if it gets converted into a demand here, supply getting converted into a demand. Right now, Venky's is sitting at a very ideal position. It wants to cross the 20 EMA here. From a technical standpoint, this is a very interesting point to look at. If it jumps here and we continue to look at the GAN, there is opportunity till 3000. If it crosses, then ultimately the monthly supply is sitting at 4000. So that's what you're saying. How long this cycle lasts? Because summers are coming, and typical mood in India is this kind of a growth comes in winter, right? When people want to have more eggs and chicken.
yeah, but I would look at it more in terms of a long-term trend.
Okay.
So agri in general should stay strong,
Hmm.
right? And there are some very interesting chemical companies to play that, PI
Yeah.
Industries, for example. And then
Hmm.
obviously players like Venky's. Now that you've shown the chart, I think
Yeah.
Venky's I would start looking at it as a long-term play,
Okay.
right? So
PI has already shown some interesting moves in month of March itself when everything else was falling. Uh, PI started to move, and I think
so
clearly that 20 EMA has given it some support. Yeah.
yeah, so PI fell because oil prices rallied, their
Hmm.
input costs increased.
Hmm.
And this is happening with most of the other companies as well, right? So everybody saw that crude oil prices were increasing, so these companies' margins would get impacted. But now people are considering, okay, so these guys will start raising their prices.
Hmm.
Uh, Oil prices might continue to go down, or will
But
stay
these
wherever.
guys, yeah,
But
these
these
guys
guys
are going
will
to
definitely
recover
raise
their past
prices.
losses or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Makes sense.
so yeah, I think agri would probably be a more longer term bullish story.
When it comes to agri, you see fertilizer stocks. Gujarat State Fertilizer, when I look at it, I mean, this is crazy. Look at March and April, this is already giving out a breakout from the previous monthly supply.
Yeah,
Gujarat State
so
Fertilizer. And
so fertilizer prices are all shooting up, right? So, and plus Russia used to be one of the biggest suppliers globally. So now with
yeah,
Russian fertilizers not coming to the market, prices have shot up.
right.
This is the factor of export and import is to be also seen in this.
I'm sorry?
Factor of exports and import of agri. Because
Right.
consumable within the country is okay. But
Hmm.
what is the consumption outside export? While you're exporting, how much? That is
Hmm.
the key factor. And
Right.
exporting to whom? That is the key
I
factor.
I think there is an interesting thing that we can quickly check.
Demand
Some
supply will be
trading
maintained.
economics. What is the
Yeah, I
prices
feel one point
that
more
we
needs
are
to be
taking on
studied in
the.
this.
No, no, just have a look. On a year-on-year basis, wheat prices have gone up by 60%.
Yes,
Coffee
yes,
prices have jumped up by 86%. Cotton, okay, we are going to exclude that. Oats, 98%. So I'm not
correct.
surprised when Tata Coffee jumps,
Hmm.
and when India is gung-ho about, probably exporting wheat and stuff. I
Correct.
think it's all linked to what are the global prices in that
Yeah,
particular
that's it.
commodity. Sugar prices also 30%. Wow.
Yes.
So so underneath all that, I think lies some kind of fertilizer, some kind of a seed company
Yes,
or
yes,
a
all
crop,
inclusive in
crop
that package.
protection company. So that's why I think already mentioned by Divakar PI Industries, but Gujarat State Fertilizer, when I look at it, um, is already moved out from its supply, previous supply. So it's clearly और अच्छी वॉल्यूम के साथ जंप कर रहा है तो seems to have some good backing also. The other one I said RCF, Rashtriya Chemical Fertilizer. It is stuck in the monthly supply, so I think a precursor to um, what GSFC was experiencing. अगर वो मतलब अगर वो ऊपर जा रहा है इसके पास भी वॉल्यूम है, this should also go up significantly. Let's quickly check इसमें कैसा चैनल बन रहा है, what is the scope. तो पिछली बार का highest, I think if I see the commodity cycle, last time जब हमारे ग्लोबल क्राइसिस हुई थी समवेयर इसी पीरियड में ही तो हुई थी और वहां पे भी ये सब स्टॉक्स ऊपर भाग गए थे. तो if this guy is planning to move up in a similar way, Rashtriya Chemical Fertilizers, first it's going to cross its monthly supply, jump up, even if it reaches 140 levels. I think the ultimate is 180, where it's going to double from where it is, current levels. But a 50% jump is also, I think, possible, right? So this is definitely not happening in 1 week. I think it'll take a few weeks, maybe a quarter also. But given how GSFC has moved out, I would not be surprised if there is more strong movement lined up here.
सुमित जी इसमें एक फैक्टर देखना पड़ेगा. That
Sorry,
is, we are studying last time also I said from 2020 onwards till date 2022. Because the thing started off, this volatility started off from 2020 when the COVID started. So the
Right.
reasons where the price have bottomed down then,
Yes.
the reason was different. Because it was a lockdown all over the world, everything of this nature. Now
क्राइसिस तो
those
था
things
ही,
are
क्राइसिस तो था ही ना सर, फिर मैं तो
the
यही
crisis,
मानूंगा.
but it was different, and the effect of the crisis took the prices to the bottoming of the MSPs. है ना? Now the crisis, then it won't वही से ऊपर उठा 3 times तक ले गया. 3 times के बाद से फिर ये जो अगर बॉटम डाउन कर रहा है और वो ऊपर जा रहा है, उसको स्टडी करना पड़ेगा कि ये किन क्राइसिस के ऊपर निर्भर कर रहा है. Because Nifty is trading very well. Nifty went to 7,000 with that crisis, went up to 18,604, came down to 14, and again
Yeah.
it is touching. It is 900 away, losing 18,604. हो सकता है एक महीने में भी टच कर सकता है, फिर से टेस्ट कर सकता है. It has not come down to 700. It has come down 7 to 14 बेस बना दिया 15 में. तो तो 14 के बाद अब नेक्स्ट बेस 21 होगा. या सब 18, 21 इस तरह. तो कौन सी चीजें जो उसको सपोर्ट करेंगी उस समय, तो वो these thing factors have to be kept in mind. Then you pick up the sectors.
सर देखिए, निफ्टी इज एट अ वेरी ट्रिकी पोजीशन राइट नाउ, ऑल्दो ओपन इंटरेस्ट एंड ऑल, एवरीबॉडी इज सजेस्टिंग कि यहाँ से बाहर जाएगा, बट जो चैनल जो मैं काफी टाइम से दिखाते आ रहा हूँ, इट इज सिटिंग राइट एट दैट डॉट लेवल. मैं चैनल आपको दिखाऊं. नाउ दिस मंथ इज गोइंग टू बी द डिसीजन मेकिंग मंथ. अब क्या होने वाला है इस साल में, सीधी सी बात है. अगर यहाँ से ऊपर जाता है
New financial year.
तो the next I think level where it faces,
क्लोज का भी पूरा एक्यूमुलेशन है.
और ये यहाँ से यहाँ तक जाने वाला सिर्फ बैंकिंग के ऊपर मुझे डिपेंड ज्यादा लगता है.
Yes,
बैंकिंग
फाइनेंशियल ईयर क्लोजिंग को पूरा आ रहा है सब कुछ. टैक्स कलेक्शन ये सब बैंक में बहुत पैसा आ रहा है.
वेदर रियलिटी में फर्दर बूम आता है नहीं
Every
आता.
year you see April month it will boost.
Yes, so we can keep a watch on this. Weekly पे ट्रैक करना ज्यादा बेटर है, इसलिए we will be talking about this. Right now जो उस दिन जो स्टॉप हुआ है फ्राइडे को, वो एग्जैक्टली ये चैनल के पॉइंट पे हुआ है. नाउ डू यू थिंक लाइक 4 वीक से ऊपर आता रहा है तो थोड़ा सा प्रॉफिट बुकिंग आ सकती है? बिल्कुल आ सकती है, बट ओवरऑल आई थिंक अगर मैं एक्सपायरी तक की बात करूं, वीकली एक्सपायरी, मंथली एक्सपायरी, एवरीबडी इज क्वाइट पॉजिटिव. तो अगर थोड़ा नीचे चला भी जाता है मंडे को, ऐसा नहीं होगा कि वापस 16,000 पे या वापस 17,000 पे जा रहा है. एटलीस्ट ऐसा ओपन इंटरेस्ट तो नहीं बता रहा हमें. इनफैक्ट इफ यू सी दैट देयर इज अ नाइस मूविंग एवरेज दैट हैज कम हियर टू गिव देम a support, and the kind of volume that has come, the kind of move that has come in Nifty in that last 1 hour on Friday, that suggests कि bullishness continue रहनी चाहिए मंडे को.
I think if you look at the valuations of fertilizer players, some of these, Rashtriya, then Gujarat State, all these are trading at single digit P's, and their profits are growing at like 200% types.
Let's check. So yeah, so
just the bottom
that's a
three
very
players.
that's a very good yeah, 10 as a PE is quite good. What I'm concerned is why the peg is negative.
Because they were making losses the last few quarters, and now suddenly they've all started making money.
So PE price is rising. Let's check. No, they did not have a loss-making quarter. Otherwise, this column should have come down. Let's check here. See, net profit margins are also always okay here. 2020 they definitely made a loss, but beyond that, profit margins have been rising. Look at this, from 4% to 7%, 9%. That's interesting.
Go to the quarterly and yearly figures, profit and loss, P&L. Yeah, Just look at the quarters. It's been on a rise for the last 6 quarters.
Yeah. And March numbers should be coming in very soon. I think what
Yeah.
is the expectation from GSFC if it is being tracked by these guys? Let's keep check. So what's this? Oops. I'm so sorry. This one. Okay. So price to earnings is definitely what we said. Return on equity is 5. That's kind of low, but 0.67 on price to book is nice. Quarter by quarter performance, the last 2 quarters is definitely getting better. Every quarter in the last year was better than the 2020, and I think this one is like awesome. This one is awesome. So Gujarat State Fertilizer seems to be a good candidate. It's already shown some jumps. We said RCF on the fundamentals. Let's have a look. I think the movement in the stock and the quarterly performance seems to go in tandem. And if they have had a good quarter, the most recent one, um, it is also probably a reflection that they are now going to have another good quarter. The kind of movement that's coming in, right? I'm gonna check Bayer crop. So Bayer crop not having good quarters, price to earnings already high. I think it's more of a technical move where the stock is right now. We follow that. We'll just have to keep a watch on this one a bit. It's probably at a middle level. If it crosses this, I think then 5600 is the case. So PI Industries, another one we discussed. Good quarters, meeting analyst expectations. Definitely not good from a PE standpoint. Um, yeah, I think that those state fertilizer companies seem to be much better compared to. What is your view on Coromandel and Chambal?
I think just looking at the valuations, I think Coromandel has been sort of a very strong performer historically. But looking at their PE ratios, maybe, I mean, it's
Yeah,
still
we have
better than,
on a weekly basis. I don't think something is going on with the state fertilizer companies, right? Some guarantee, some support has probably been given to them. Otherwise, this Coromandel International should also, should have shot up, right? Chambal. Okay, this guy looks better. PE again 10. So has already made new highs. Wow.
look at
PE is
Coromandel in
10.
the monthly time frame.
Okay, just about to come to that, but I was just looking at Chambal 10 is PE. Not a bad level, right? So this is Coromandel on a monthly time frame. This is where the breakout. See, once it crossed this, and this is again we are learning some technicals here. So those who keen, this is what we teach. So this is a monthly supply. Now, previously this was holding back the stock. Can you see that stock entered this zone? Again, it probably entered, but it was strong enough. Nice volume comes in, it breaks out. Now this supply acts like a demand. It's a flip zone. So it's again giving nice support. And thank you, Diwakar, for making me move to the monthly, because now I see that there is opportunity here also. Let me see where my 20 EMAs are, and we can draw up some numbers. Yeah, it is sitting above the monthly 20 EMA. I use my GAN. Open anyway. GAN. Yeah. So probably a little. Could be. There's ample scope. I mean, look where Coromandel is operating. It is between my 1/1 and my 1/2. So, and it hasn't come down, I think, since 2020. There's nice support from this monthly levels, and it will probably go up like other state fertilizer companies then. Make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what's essentially happening is if you look at broadly what's happening, all the stocks with very
Hmm.
high PE ratios are selling off, and
Hmm.
you're seeing opportunities in all these stocks with less than 15 PE.
Yeah. So value investing is back or what?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Right. Uh, cool. Let me quickly scan through some of the other slides which we have here. See if there's opportunity when I do some analysis on the open interest building on the call and put. Uh, so let's see if there are some names. I think BHEL we have discussed from a power standpoint. Uh, Bharat Electronic Power Grid, I think no brainer again. Power is still in the focus. India Bull Housing, HDFC, AMC. In fact, next week I'll be probably talking about how these AMC companies are also coming up significantly. They are doing good. Let's see if this has some interesting. Quest. I think this guy shown a nice turnaround. You wanted to discuss about Quest, Diwakar, remember? So Quest is this company which provides, I think, HR kind solutions or hiring, workforce
Yeah,
management. So last month, nice, I would say, hammer being formed, probably from the same level. I think this is what is this daily market fresh. Uh, I need to keep tweaking between these indicator charts, but all right. So Quest is probably showing some kind of reversals from. I mean, it's still moving between GAN lines, but there is something which suggests that it is moving up from here. And also, if I go by the news, what is coming across, people have started going back. There are employment opportunities, and I think Quest has a role to play in that. When I see the description, what do they actually offer? Uh, Workforce management, some technology solutions, staffing services. I think their their services are now in demand, so it will not be a surprise when it goes up at least to the next GAN line, which I see somewhere hanging around 900 levels. So it could be an opportunity. In fact, last time I recall, since I'm looking at this chart, Rahul Lakhanpal, you had asked me कि कोई forex वाला chart क्यों नहीं था जब हमने international discuss किया था, international travel opening up. Rahul, can you hear me? Rahul
Yeah,
Lakhanpal.
I can hear you.
So Delphi World was the company which I found, and you'll be surprised. On Friday they had a 20% jump. It is the company which is offering all this foreign
Yeah.
exchange chain of shops and all. And I missed this. I mean, literally only because you asked me. I was hunting this stock on a Saturday. I was hunting, and look, on Friday this was the jump. Uh, Clearly, they had given the stock had given me volumes 2 weeks back itself. So this is a gap level and all. And just like what we were discussing in Godrej consumer products, somebody got interested at this level. Again, the stock came down and the jump has come, and this time it is really strong. 20% in one day. 20% one day. I mean, people, once they travel, they definitely need forex, and these guys are pretty good at when they have a chain of stores providing that. I think they have kind of preferred partners for that. So that's also something I recalled from our previous discussions. Coming back to this list that I have. Ramco Cement. So I've been talking about the cement companies. Grasim, Ramco probably moving up. There was, I think, something around, let's say, Mahindra and Mahindra Finance that was interesting. And I think, Diwakar, you mentioned it last time. Any story around Mahindra Finance that we should be aware of?
So most of the sort of second line NBFCs did not grow in the last, say, 12 months because they were sort of restructuring their loan books because of the COVID. Um, but now I think L&T Housing Finance,
Yeah.
M&M Finance, and all the other second line NBFCs have started looking at growing their business. So M&M Financial, their CEO came on the news channel and said that they will grow their book by 45% in the next 12 months.
They are financing what? Tractors or what? What are the
Tractors, auto, personal loans, gold loans,
Yeah, so you're
housing.
right. They haven't seen that kind of growth because if this was a 2020 fall, there is clearly a demand at this level. The next demand zone that was created, our stock is probably still around those levels, right? So this is where it's taking the support constantly. This is a rally-based rally. If you guys know, some of you know the technicals. Um, this is a drop based rally, this is a rally based rally, and every time it comes in this blue zone, it's taking a reversal, and this is the case since last year in July, December, and again in March. What it's probably stuck at level is there are certain gaps which got created, I think, last time around. It needs to clear off them. So this was a gap area that got created in February 2022 itself. This is where the reversals are continuing again. So no brainer. यहाँ से निकला, यहाँ पे रुक गया. अभी यहाँ से निकलेगा, यहाँ रुक जाएगा. I think I'll be interested.
Yeah,
This gap, this gap
same is
got
the
closed.
situation even with LIC Housing Finance. Huh?
Yeah. Say this. Let's see. Housing.
This financing now is the key factor is that how much to give and demand to he fair and NPA is another problem. Now NPAs and all have been under cover. All banks and all they have covered it very well, and now it's the minimum, bare minimum. That's why the acquisition merging is also started taking place. So when this will have to reverse, and it will not cross, and it will not outburst in one go. That is correct.
Definitely.
Demand supply पे.
तो सर ये अगर LIC हाउसिंग है तो ये रियलिटी स्टॉक्स में भी कुछ बूम आना चाहिए. रियलिटी से पहले जो बिल्डिंग मटेरियल सप्लायर्स हैं, सीमेंट है, स्टील कंपनीज है, उनमें बूम आ रहा है. सो
इसमें डेट वो पड़ा हुआ है बहुत इन्वेंट्री. इन्वेंट्री लिस्ट ना बहुत एक साल के अंदर बहुत बढ़ गई है. वो पुरानी वाली इन्वेंट्री पूरी नहीं हो पाई.
टोटली फाइन सर. बट व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से कि रियलिटी में बूम आएगा तो LIC हाउसिंग में भी या ऐसे फाइनेंशियल कंपनीज में भी तो बूम आएगा, राइट? सो दिस probably will go hand in hand. इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर इन जनरल बूम रहता ही है क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट को अगर किक स्टार्ट करनी है इकोनॉमी फॉर इट टू प्रोवाइड जॉब्स एंड ऑल, दिस इज अ वेरी इजी वे कि कहीं ना कुछ कंस्ट्रक्शन कराते रहो, लॉट ऑफ एम्प्लॉयमेंट गेट्स जनरेटेड and a lot of money also keeps flowing in through these सीमेंट कंपनी, स्टील कंपनी स्टॉक, जिनको जिंदा रखना बहुत जरूरी है. I mean, these companies cannot die, right? So, I mean, yes, you are right.
Because these companies are the
Inventory
support
है,
element for infrastructure.
yes, inventory है. Is it more around the major cities जहाँ आप inventory देख रहे हैं, or are you are saying in general India में बहुत inventory है?
नहीं, we are seeing first government sector suppliers, the L&T and all.
Yeah.
Infrastructure means first government suppliers, government planning, government funds. They are the most. उसके बाद बाकी आएंगे.
Don't look at only housing. There is so much other other kind of construction
Yes,
projects.
overall.
Right. तो L&T फाइनेंशियल होल्डिंग्स की अगर मैं L&T हमने देखना था.
आप अपना L&T को जो गवर्नमेंट का है ना, तो गवर्नमेंट इज द सेफेस्ट बिकॉज उसका फंड्स है, इट हैज टू एक्सपायर and they have to plan that way and they have to shift the funds also. They can't waste the taxes, no? Tax generated funds.
Right. So if you have to invest, would you invest in government companies, construction companies, or private companies then? You अपनी companies
No,
को
government. As the infrastructure goes, infrastructure goes that day. The finance minister has said the priority is infrastructure. Yesterday only she was speaking na Ibla. The aim is infrastructure.
Okay.
And it is government first.
Right.
Yes. Priority is government. Government first को आप टैकल कर लो, because वो कह रहे हैं कि economy have to go from 3 trillion to 5 trillion. The government has to take supporting it. Infrastructure नहीं होगा तो नहीं जा पाएगी. Safest is the central government, state government. Government funds are the key.
तो सर अगर मैं नितिन गडकरी के ऊपर बेट करूं कि वो कुछ अच्छा कर रहा है, तो मेरे को IRB इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बहुत अच्छा लगता है. IRB इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में जंप भी देखिए कितना अच्छा चलता आ रहा है.
I would go up to the extent to say blind. That's the point.
अगर इसका कोई चैनल की मैं बात करूं, वन सेकंड, देयर आर मल्टीपल चैनल्स. एक चैनल तो वही है जो आज तक इसका शुरुआत से बनता है 2008 से, राइट? तो उसी के बीच में चलता आ रहा है, अभी भी उसी में ही है. इसको ब्रेकआउट देना है अगर, तो ब्रेकआउट यहाँ से देना है तो इट हैज टू मूव अप दिस 290 का लेवल. तो 290 के लेवल के लिए अगर मैं कोई रीसेंट चैनल, इसको तो हम इग्नोर ही कर देते हैं. फिर रिसेंटली अगर मैं देखूं वीकली परफॉर्मेंस इसकी, तो इट हैज स्टार्टेड टू मूव अप अ लिटिल हियर अगेन फ्रॉम द सेम लेवल्स जहां पे अक्टूबर से इसने जंप दिया था. अनफॉर्चुनेटली मार्केट नीचे गिरी तो ये भी नीचे गिर गया, तो लोगों को फिर से कुछ डर लग गया, पता नहीं ये स्टॉक ऊपर जाएगा कि नहीं जाएगा. बट यू नो व्हेन आई थिंक if I just do a quick search on IRB, there are a lot of infrastructure projects that have been, given to this. So the order book looks quite good for IRB. In fact, टोल कलेक्शन भी अगर यही लोग करते हैं तो बहुत ही अच्छी बात है. I mean that gives more steady income to these guys, right? So, some favorable judgment कोई आई है, टोल कलेक्शन में 17% ईयर ऑन ईयर अच्छा जंप आ रहा है. 302 टारगेट दिया हुआ है किसने, HDFC सिक्योरिटीज में. तो 302 कहाँ पे है हमारा, ये रहा समवेयर, या दिस सप्लाई लेवल, सो दिस वीकली सप्लाई. तो यहाँ से अगर ये कब हुआ था एक बार ये भी देख लेते हैं. एक महीने पहले ये आर्टिकल आया था, HDFC सिक्योरिटीज ने 302 का टारगेट दिया है. मुझे तो कभी कभी ये भी लगता है HDFC सिक्योरिटीज ने टारगेट दिया है, HDFC AMC उसको जाके खरीद ले तो ऑटोमेटिकली 302 तो पहुंचा ही देगा. व्हाट डू यू गाइस फील? ये तो इजी है ना. HDFC AMC is probably the largest AMC company and getting a lot of money from SIPs and all, so it is quite possible. 302 for
Sumit, this should be wait and watch, or what are we supposed to do on infrastructure? Because it's always growing. Infrastructure is booming now. COVID, we are back to normal slowly, and international travel, infrastructure, hotel sector, everything is slowly coming up. So should we start, investing in them?
Why not? Why not? अभी नहीं करोगे तो देखो, अभी
If we
लास्ट
can,
वीक मैंने
yeah,
बोला था, लास्ट वीक से हम लोग बोल रहे हैं कि ओपनिंग अप हो रहा है, ट्रैवल हो रहा है, ये हो रहा है। तो पीछे मैंने आई थिंक 2 वीक्स बैक मैंने डेल्टा कॉप का डाला था। डेल्टा कॉप व्हाट एग्जैक्टली व्हाट इज द रोल? या इट इज provider of casinos and gaming in Goa. It is one of the
right.
biggest one,
It
right?
runs
Look,
Deltin.
sorry, it runs what?
It runs Deltin. So those are the biggest casinos.
Correct,
And
correct.
not just
Or
casinos, they have, I think, cruise
yeah, cruise lines
fleet
and
there
all.
also and all.
So pent up demand बहुत है. People are dying. I mean, Indians are crazy about travel and all. Those who can afford to go out, well and good. हम उसका भी फायदा उठा रहे हैं. Delphi, Delphi अभी हमने देखा मनी सप्लायर एंड BLS हमने देखा था last time the visa provider. But just look at this Delta Corp. You know, I think this is an interesting story. Volume अगस्त से अच्छी खासी चल रही थी. एक जगह पे आके ये रुक गया है. लेट्स क्विकली चेक द मंथली. क्या चक्कर है? अभी अपने मंथली में तो घुस ही चुका है. पर जिस पेस पे ये अंदर आगे बढ़े जा रहा है, बढ़े जा रहा है. See, पहले it was stuck in this monthly supply zone. So sorry, Vijay, you've done technical? Oh no, you signed up for this latest one that we are about to start, right?
Correct, correct,
So you
correct.
learn this. You will exactly learn this what we are discussing here.
Okay,
So
okay.
why?
No, that's curiosity, because everything is opened up, and which are the
Yeah.
sector we start reading, no? Now reading
Yes.
was less all these days because of pandemic. Now, looking into daily the money control and all. So I'll start
वो सब भी
focusing
आप कर
more.
सकते हो, but see, mostly it's the sense that you have कि what's happening around you, then you can see
Correct.
what's the first thing. It will
Yes.
probably hit the stock price chart itself. फिर उसके अराउंड न्यूज आ जाती है कि ऐसा कुछ हुआ है, वैसा कुछ हुआ है. तो
Okay,
पहले
okay.
इनसाइडर्स तो उठा ही लेते हैं स्टॉक. सो लुक, यू नो, द ओपनिंग अप ऑफ द इकोनॉमी की बात जब से हो रही है, सितंबर से ये अच्छी वॉल्यूम आ रही है एंड जंप किए जा रहे, किए जा रहे. पहले इस मंथली सप्लाई में स्टक हुआ, अब इसमें है. लुकिंग एट द पेस, 400 पे जाना कोई बड़ी बात है नहीं इसके लिए. तो आई कैन क्विकली चेक
Yes.
अगर कोई रिपोर्ट्स हैं इस
But
पे.
Sumit, in this case of Delta, the way it has broken out of its previous supply
या
and the struggle that there was in the previous supply, do you think this is a good time to enter, or should we just wait this coming
स्ट्रगल,
week, थोड़ा सा और retracement हो जाए फिर जाए?
तो स्ट्रगल थोड़ा सा ये भी आप देख के चलो कि निफ्टी भी इस पीरियड में गिर रहा था, लेकिन ये नहीं गिरा. निफ्टी इस पीरियड में नवंबर से नीचे गिर रहा था, राइट? ये
Right.
इट मेंटेन्ड अ रेंज बाउंड. और जैसे ही मार्च में, तो अब मतलब यू कैन से कि अब थोड़ी सी निफ्टी में इंप्रूवमेंट दिखाई दी है. इसने तो इसी मंथ में कितनी अच्छी जंप पहले से दे दी, राइट? तो अब अगर ओके, टू आंसर योर क्वेश्चन मोर स्पेसिफिकली, द प्रीवियस डिमांड जोन, सॉरी प्रीवियस सप्लाई जोन इज गोना एक्ट लाइक अ डिमांड. अगर ये नीचे आ भी गया, जो कि आ सकता है क्योंकि थोड़ी सी रिट्रेसमेंट आती है, प्रॉफिट बुकिंग आ जाती है यहाँ पे. दोज हु वुड हैव इन्वेस्टेड एट दिस लेवल और दिस लेवल, इतने 5-6 महीने वेट करते रहे डेल्टा कॉप को ऊपर चढ़ने में, उन्होंने देखा एक अच्छा जंप यहाँ पे आ गया, दे विल स्टार्ट बुकिंग प्रॉफिट. बट इफ इट स्टार्ट्स टू कम डाउन, आई एम अज्यूमिंग अगेन that this is a good level, 300. 300 is again a good level. So if you want to start investing, buy something right now, keep some money on hold if it reaches here. अगर ये यहाँ से ऊपर जाने लगता है, then probably midway हमारा कितना है? I'll buy something around 350 or something again. That could be another level.
True, because right now, if you look at it from a stop loss perspective, also it's quite a wide stop loss, right?
मैं इसमें स्टॉप
300 will
लॉस,
be will narrow down the risk also for us.
राइट. तो अगर मैं अभी इसमें स्टॉप लॉस के हिसाब से चलूं तो यस, काफी ज्यादा है. फॉर मी, आई एम कीपिंग अ स्टॉप लॉस. इफ लेट मी बी वेरी वेरी क्लियर हियर, अगर ये इस लेवल से और नीचे जाने लग जाता है, I would probably exit because I want it to come out. Okay, so this should be the last level. If you are asking for
Okay.
stop, enter here, enter here. If you have the capacity, buy more here. If it reaches this level 280 and all, then just exit. Wait, let it again come out and then buy again. So I mean, hospitality, tourism, everything goes hand in hand. In fact, Indigo Airlines बिना तो काम नहीं चलेगा, वो भी देख लेते हैं. सो नाइस हैमर ऑन इंडिगो एयरलाइंस इन द मंथ ऑफ मार्च. इट्स प्रॉब्ली कोई तो इसको तंग कर रहा है. सो लेट्स चेक. इट्स अ गैप. पहले कभी कोई गैप है बट इट गॉट क्लोज्ड हियर. ओके, सो नो मोर गैप्स नाउ फॉर इंडिगो. इंडिगो इज वेटिंग. आई मीन इफ यू थिंक अबाउट इट, हम लोग जब ज़्यादा ट्रैवल करते हैं, इंडिगो is offering maximum choices, I think, in terms of timings and destinations and all. So probably it could be a stock that you can again look out. कितना जंप बचा है. ये न्यू हाइज बना रहा था आई थिंक अगस्त सितंबर में, फिर वही नीचे आ गया, काफी नीचे आया है और किसी ने फिर अच्छा खरीदा यहाँ पे. Probably there's some good demand zone here. 1552 का लेवल दोबारा दिखना मुश्किल है. Come back into its GAN area. April has started, on a good note. It hasn't come down, at least on 1st of April, to these levels. So I'm expecting अगर यहाँ से ऊपर चला जाता है, 2129 से ऊपर चला जाता है, then probably it has more leeway to grow, right? because जिस तरीके से यहाँ से बार बार रिवर्सल आ रही है, I don't think अभी वो दोबारा आनी चाहिए, because the way the domestic travel is also opening up, this stock should go up. Guys, that's it from my side. Any additional stocks that you would want to discuss? Thoughts, observations that you have?
Just the opening of the market after discussion.
Opening of the market. जी सर. तो सर OI तो यही कह रहा है, मैंने आई थिंक वी डिस्कस्ड इट ब्रीफली. OI तो यही कह रहा है कि देयर इज ample bullishness sitting in the markets, and let me go back to my charts. Yeah. तो अगर मंथली की बात करें तो 1.39 का PCR है. I'll show you how I calculated since we have time. So let's do that. So look at this. This is total put. This is total call, right? So if you do the ratio कि put ज़्यादा है कि call ज़्यादा है, you can clearly see put ज़्यादा है and put selling ज़्यादा हुई हुई है. So there is some bullish activity in that front. अगर मैं सिर्फ ATR levels की बात करूँ, average true range of Nifty, weekly average true range, I think is now coming out to be somewhere 700 or so. या 700 के आसपास अगर हम मान लें तो what we have taken is यहाँ से सर 17,700 मान लीजिए से लेकर मैं सिर्फ 17,000 तक की स्ट्राइक प्राइसेस को इंक्लूड करूं पुट साइड पे, और यहाँ से 700 पॉइंट्स ऊपर अगर मैं ले जाऊं तो 18,400 की स्ट्राइक. सो मैं PCR अगर चेक करना चाह रहा हूँ, ATR PCR, average true range is 700. So I'm just including strike prices which fall between plus minus 700. So I'm not interested in these far away strike prices कि उसमें क्या क्या हो रहा है. So the number comes out to be 1.88. 1.88 on a monthly basis. Weekly basis पे वही नंबर 1.44 है. So people are quite excited about markets going up. Again, what I have just said कि मंडे को वैसे तो नहीं लग रहा कि कुछ प्रॉब्लम होनी चाहिए, क्योंकि जिस तरीके से मूवमेंट आई है, इट इज प्रॉब्ली इन द लास्ट 1 to 2 hours of the market, right? तो ये कंटिन्यू अगर रहे तो बहुत ही अच्छी बात है. थोड़ी सी प्रॉफिट बुकिंग भी कर लेते हैं तो उसमें कोई ज्यादा दिक्कत नहीं है, क्योंकि एक चैनल था, ये पहले वाला चैनल. तो पहले वाले चैनल से अगर थोड़ा सा भी नीचे आ जाता है, अगेन आई हैव सेड that it's not going to come crashing down because OI is not suggesting any kind of crash. In fact, bullishness है और बोलिंजर बैंड के लेवल्स तक अगर जा सकता है 1 वीक में 700 पॉइंट्स भी अगर से कम ही है बोलिंजर बैंड, तो मेरा 18,300 के लेवल पे है। तो अगर बुलिशनेस ये कंटिन्यू हो रही है तो डेफिनेटली एटीआर भी 700 है, बैंड भी मेरा सुपर ट्रेंड की लाइन और बैंड जो है दोनों इसी पॉइंट पे है, यहाँ तक ये पहुंच सकता है। आई वुड नॉट बी सरप्राइज कि नेक्स्ट डिसीजन मेकिंग इस लेवल पे होगी, यहाँ से अगर ये बाहर निकल गया तो। डज दैट आंसर योर क्वेश्चन सर करेंद्र जी? यस
Sumit, one last, gold, because Russia, because of
गोल्ड
Russia.
प्राइसेस तो कम हो गई मैम।
That's what I'm saying. So it's best time to buy gold. Or it's staying there only. It's not much of variations.
Point, yeah, it has come down.
Yeah, not much of a variation. That's what I saw.
But what is the time frame for which you want to buy, or maybe what is the objective with which you want to buy? See, if a Nifty is about to go up, gold will not go up. Okay,
Exactly.
remember we have
Yes.
discussed that relationship.
Yeah.
So, see, we have been talking कि निफ्टी में काफी बुलिशनेस है, तो इस टाइम पे अगर आप ले भी लो, शायद थोड़ा और नीचे चला जाए। इनफैक्ट check.
That's what. Because Nifty is going up, gold will go down. So that's
Yeah.
where I'm correlating. So I can buy
Yeah.
gold. So that's what I'm looking at. So, but
Yeah.
it's not going that low also. It's there, hanging there somewhere. So, I mean, that's what I was. Looks
in
everywhere.
fact,
Yeah.
you can create a ratio in trading view which is comparing gold and nifty.
Correct. Yeah.
So,
So-
do you know how to do that?
No. Maybe you will teach me in technical.
So trading view is amazing. I mean, if you want to see stock prices, that's good. But if you want to compare prices, जैसे मैं क्या करूँ, Bajaj Auto. Here is Bajaj Auto. Okay, so wait, sorry, Bajaj Auto.
Okay, Sumit, I will leave today.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Thank
no
you.
problem. So I'm going to type in Bajaj Auto divided by or something. Not.com. Where is my friend? BAJ underscore AUTO. You can use divided by Hero Motor. So something which we were discussing, na?
Acha. Okay.
So
like
now
this,
see,
huh?
I get the ratio, na? I get the ratio.
Okay. So
Similarly,
this is how you have to search.
Similarly, I
Bajaj
can create a ratio for gold and nifty. तो gold and nifty का मेरा ratio यहाँ बना हुआ है, ठीक है? The same thing I have created. Whenever you want to do that, how will you do? Indian prices में अगर आपको gold चाहिए तो XAU INR, XAU INR will give you gold in Indian rupees. Okay.
Right.
Divided by Nifty.
Nifty
So
50. Or divided by Nifty 50. Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
तो वो कर लिया आपने, तो this is what you get. गोल्ड ऊपर है, see what is the ratio? Gold divided by Nifty. तो अगर ये नीचे आ रही है तो is it in favor of gold or is it in favor of Nifty?
Yeah.
है ना? It's in favor of Nifty, ना? If this ratio is
Correct.
coming down.
Nifty only, yeah. Nifty
Had I
is
made
bullish.
had I made it the other way around, what would it be? XAU INR.
Oh.
1 second. Yeah. So had it be the other way around, it is coming up, है ना?
Okay.
It means
Right.
इसके फेवर में चल रहा है, निफ्टी के फेवर में सब कुछ चल रहा है।
Nifty, yeah, that's what.
देखिए इस पॉइंट पे जब हम आएंगे, जब हम इस पॉइंट पे हम आ जाएंगे, जब निफ्टी ऊपर आ जाएगा, दिस इज एग्जैक्टली 18,400 और 300। ठीक है, यहाँ पे आएंगे, दिस इज अ डिसीजन मेकिंग पॉइंट। एवरीथिंग इज सेम इंटरलिंक एंड यू लर्न दिस टेक्निकल्स। ये ये लाइंस क्या हैं,
ठीक
ये
है।
सप्लाई है, ये सप्लाई है, दिस इज द फाइनल। अगर निफ्टी ब्रेकआउट दे रहा है, कोई 19,000 के लेवल्स के ऊपर जा रहा है, तो देन all this would probably crossing these levels. ये वाला.
Yeah.
This ratio Nifty by XAU would probably be
Mhm.
going through this.
Okay.
ठीक है? This is a very interesting observation. अगर आप see, trading view has so much to offer.
Offer, yes.
Yeah, we will learn. Don't worry. So I think I'm really excited to have you in our technical batch, which is about to start next week. Anybody else
Yeah.
wishes to join, please contact me separately. That's it from my side, guys. I'll stop here. I'll share the link to the recording. And if you have any thoughts, the WhatsApp is open. We will continue our discussion. We'll be watching the market.
Sumit,
Thank you.
one quick question. The Tuesday timings, no, I
We'll discuss
just
that separately.
huh?
Separately.
So yeah, we can have Tuesday, but not all Tuesday. I'm okay with Tuesday. That's not a problem.
Okay.
But as I told you, if we can have 1 or 2 classes on weekend, it would be good.
Right.
That's what I thought.
Let's discuss that in the WhatsApp group. Let's discuss
Yeah?
it separately in the
Okay.
WhatsApp. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks everyone.
Thanks,
Thank
Sumit.
you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you, Sumit sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay Shivai. Bye bye.
Thank you, Sumit. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Sumit.